Right now, poised at the edge of the galaxy, Emperor Zurg has been secretly building a weapon with the destructive capacity to annihilate an entire planet. I alone have information that reveals this weapon's only weakness. And you, my friend, are responsible for delaying my rendezvous with Star Command.
You are a toy! You weren't the real Buzz Lightyear, you're an action figure! You are a child's plaything!
You are a sad, strange little man. And you have...
Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. We'll put a movie on for you. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we look at the movies from the past to see if they're still good today. And I'm your host, Isaac, so play nice. And who's with me in a world where your own toys can come to life in your very own bedroom?
This is Seth. There seems to be no sign of intelligent life.
That's great. It's wonderful to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I am doing excellent. This is a special episode. We're kicking off peak Pixar, so I'm just pumped. I'm just excited because there's so many great movies in the Pixar catalog. And this one specifically is also special. We're doing video podcasts now. So if you're on Spotify, all those places, YouTube, hello out there. You're seeing our ugly mug, but fun interaction that we get to see our faces. It's just fun. And we just went live recently, so that was a lot of fun. I'm just excited. I guess that's another word to say. I'm excited for how this podcast has grown. We got to talk about the movies we covered, but now we get to move forward. And I'm really excited for this. So this is a movie that's the first in the Pixar catalog. So before we jump into this, again, we want to make sure we give everyone the proper time, the proper spoiler warning. If you've not seen this movie, stop what you're doing, please. It's on Disney Plus. It's free. You can go watch it. It's on multiple platforms, but please go watch it. Come on back. We'll have a great time with it. The movie we are considering is none other than Toy Story 1, to specify, the very first Toy Story. So this movie came out November 22nd, 1995. It's coming up on the big 3-0. It had a budget of $30 million. And the box office, it made bank. It was $394.4 million. Big hit, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. For then, yeah.
It's like, how else do you say it? This was groundbreaking for the time. It was so just nothing like it. That's the only way I can put it. And just glancing around, we'll get to the reviews later, but just kind of giving a glance at different sites. Overall, I'm seeing just monster reviews, just overall positive. 8.3 out of 10 in IMDb, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if I've ever seen that for Rotten Tomatoes, but this movie got it. 100% Metacritic, 96%. So yeah, this is, I think everybody knows what Toy Story is. Everybody that I know of, I don't know why you have not seen this movie, but there might be some out there. This is one of those movies. I think everybody's well familiar with it. But with that being said, I'm interested to know, what are your first memories with this movie?
So I remember the first time I watched this and just being blown away by the idea of it and the animation. I also have to say I play with my toys just about every day of my childhood. And I love creating storylines, even taking pictures to make it look like it was a movie.
That's what this movie did. I think a lot of people did that, but that's great. My first memories, yeah, this was just amazing. And everybody in school wanted a Buzz Lightyear. I was one of them. It was just one of those movies. Yeah, it was the craze. I think anybody and everybody was obsessed with this movie when it came out, and it was, yeah, just all over the media. I can't even picture. I remember watching it in the movie theater, of course, and just being blown away. This was the first CGI fully animated. There's CGI here and there, but nothing like this. This was just
Mhm.
a groundbreaking, keeps coming to my mind. Just, it was trailblazer. All these CGI movies that you see, this is what jump started it. This is what made it popular. But with that being said, like we mentioned, this is almost 30 years old. What were your expectations going back on a rewatch of this film?
Simply to enjoy the journey. I've seen this movie more times than I can count, so, it's just trying to keep an open mind and enjoy the ride.
And I'm the same. I've seen this so many times, but I just wanted to have a fun time with it. And my kids have seen it before, but I almost wanted to just watch their reaction, see how they feel about it. So that was my expectation in it, and just enjoy those memories. Go take a little trip down memory lane, so to say. Well, without further delay, then let's get into it. Let's take the VHS out of the cover, let's put it in the VCR, and press play.
Andy's room holds many toys. While humans are around, they pretend to be lifeless, but when they are alone, they have their own community. Sheriff Woody is their leader, and Andy's favorite toy. Andy gets a new space toy, a Buzz Lightyear. Woody is overcome with jealousy. Buzz believes he is a real space ranger, annoying Woody, but impressing the others. Out of jealousy, Woody devises a scheme to push Buzz behind the desk, but mistakenly knocks Buzz out of the window. Woody goes with Andy to Pizza Planet. Buzz confronts him, and they fall out of the van. They get on a ride in a truck to Pizza Planet. While at Pizza Planet, Buzz enters a rocket claw game. Woody follows. We meet the Little Green Men. Sid, Andy's next-door neighbor, plays the game and gets Buzz and Woody taking them home. Buzz sees a commercial for the Buzz Lightyear toys, becoming devastated. Sid has these mutant toys at his house, switching bodies and heads. At first, the toys scared Woody, but then they make friends. Woody and Sid's toys make a plan to get away and frighten Sid from torturing any more toys. The moving truck is leaving, but Woody and Buzz don't want to miss the move. They end up in the van with Andy. The end.
Right. It's just the classic. That's all I can say. That's what kind of jumps out at me. This plot is, for toys coming to life, that in itself is just kind of fun. But there's a pretty interesting plot, wouldn't you say? Like, what do you think of the plot overall when you first are watching this?
Well, I have to mention the fact that toys coming to life is just so astounding to me. It's what I always dreamed of as a kid. I wanted that. So when I saw the movie, I was kind of like, they made a movie for me. And so the plot to go along with it is really clever. I don't know how they could have come up with a better storyline for the first film.
Yeah, it's great. It's like you said, they could have just took that concept and I don't know, just kept it to where they come to life, and every once in a while Andy comes in and they had to play like they're a toy, but there's so much layers to it. It's just funny to think about. Woody was originally going to be this really big jerk, and he is. I mean, he's still kind of that jerk, but if you listen to some early they have the storyboard art with
Mhm.
Tom Hanks. He's just a nasty, like, mean toy, and that's where they were going with it originally, but they kinda spun it where, this concept of this favorite toy, Woody, now he's threatened because this new toy's in town, and
Mhm.
it goes so I don't wanna jump into it because we're obviously gonna cover that when we get to Toy Story 2, but these both just gel together so well. Just the thought that, cowboys were kind of a thing, and then space adventure is the next popular thing, and that's totally what kids do. They go through phases where oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're just everything I want to play with. And then Star Wars or dinosaur, take your pick. It goes on and on. The people that made this film, you could just tell there was a passion project for them. They had so much probably childhood that they brought out into this film, and I really appreciate it. It's just so fun. That's the best way to put it. It's a fun movie. Like you said, that's what you always think of as a kid. I wish my toys could come to life, and it does it so well. And the plot, I just have always appreciated that I've mentioned it so many times, so much character development. Going back to Woody being this jerk, he has kind of that full circle throughout the film. And yeah, I mean, that just kind of opens up. What do you think of the characters? That's a loaded question, I know, but just to start, maybe a few that you like or stick out.
Well, I'm a big Woody fan. I think the Andy character is quite amazing. Buzz is very comical.
Yeah.
Um, just real stern and flat with the comedy, and it's just he's not meaning to be funny, and that's what makes him funny. I really the character development is quite good. I think halfway through this film, you're feeling for all the characters, and that's
Right.
something to say. I mean, this movie is very different than a normal movie, if you ask me. It stands out. It's like I said before, it's very clever, and the characters are very, very, very funny.
And there's variety. That's what I
Yeah.
love about it.
Yeah.
Just like your toys, if you were to go back to your childhood, at least for me, I had assortment of toys. I wasn't just one type, and they're just all great. They all have their moment, I feel like. As much as Woody is your main character and Buzz is, you would say, your close 1B main character, the others kind of steal the spotlight at time. I mean, Mr. Potato Head, Don Rickles, he
Mhm.
just has some great lines in there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's great. He's kind of the jerk, insulting people, but it's so funny. It's great. And he balances off with Rex, kind of that,
Mhm.
he's skittish for a T-Rex, supposedly. And he's trying to be like a T-Rex. That's an ongoing gag. He's trying to roar. Slinky Dog's that loyal dog, and
Yeah.
you could just go on and on. I mean, you ask somebody, I think it's if you poll a room of people, each person's going to say a different toy is their favorite. And
Yeah.
that's where the characters are so good. I like you said, I'm a big Woody fan. I loved Buzz and the action figure side of it. So as a kid, I just thought it was the coolest looking toy. I always wanted one. And I don't know. It's hard to say what's my favorite. Rex always stuck out to me because I also like dinosaurs and I loved his character. He had
Mhm.
some great lines in there. Ham is kind of an underappreciated. I feel like he really adds a lot too. He might not stick
Mhm.
out as much as the others, but he's got some really
Yeah.
when the kids are walking in with the presents. Oh, I think it's hilarious. Just Rex, any dinosaur shaped ones? Oh, for crying out loud. They're all in boxes, you idiot. Just that's one of my favorite lines. And that's another thing. I mean, there's so much that we could dive into this movie. I mean, what are some other things that kind of stick out to you just when you're going back and watching it? I mean, you could kind of take one scene and dissect it if you want, but what kind of jumps out to you?
I mean, if we're gonna what jumps out to me in this movie, the first thing I have to say is the soundtrack. I
Yeah,
mean, the soundtrack fits this movie like a glove. I mean, it's just so perfect for this movie. Randy Newman was the perfect choice for this film, and all the
I agree.
songs are just so memorable. And we had the soundtrack as a kid, and I remember listening to it over and over and over and over again. Just love this soundtrack. That's the first thing that stands out to me.
I agree. Yeah, Randy Newman, there's been kind of this gag. There's been different media, he kind of explains a story, I'm just going to go to the kitchen, left foot, right foot. But I don't think you can argue with his songwriting. He's just
Mhm.
really good songwriter. If you listen to his catalog of music, and that's what this movie inspired me. Like, I want to check out a few. Not that I got like real big into it, but it got me interested. I'm like, I really, really like the soundtrack, and it kind of triggered the core memory as you're talking about that now,
Mhm.
because there's the song with Buzz when he realizes that he is now a toy. Because up to that point, he thinks he's
Mhm.
the actual Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger, and that song "I Will Go Sailing No More" plays in school. Someone, it was our music teacher. That's what it was. It's coming back to me slowly. They played music, and if you guessed it, you got a point.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
I knew all the songs they were playing, and I would get them. And so the teacher actually said, "Okay, Isaac, you can't ring in anymore." And they opened because I was just stealing it, and that song came on, and I was like, "Oh, I know this," and nobody knew it. I was
Oh my
shocked.
goodness.
Yeah, it was, I wanna say, like, 5 years after the film had come out, so, I was in another grade by that point, but I was just, like, cringing, like, "How do you not know this song?" It was, I'm again, getting the memory come back to me. I think you got a point for the movie, and a point for the song, and a point for the artist. I woulda got 3 points from that. I was
Oh
just, like,
my.
anxious about it, like, "Come on," and nobody even knew that it was from Toy Story. That's what killed me. I'm like, "At least say it was from Toy Story, come on," but yeah, that's off on a tangent, but yeah, any songs that you like,
Well, to
specific.
piggyback off of that, I was gonna it's in my notes. "I Will Go Sailing No More" is by far my favorite song of the movie.
Yeah.
It like you said, it tells a story, but it's so emotional because Buzz sees this commercial and then has this devastating moment where he realizes he's not the space ranger he grew up thinking he was. He's actually a toy, and it just shocks his whole life. It just completely ruins his whole concept of reality. And I thought that song captured that moment so perfectly.
Yeah. It does, it's just like you said, it captures it, the soundtrack. I'm a big fan of soundtracks of movies. I think it really is another character when you consider the whole film, and that's what that does. I mean, the title, "You've Got a Friend in Me," is also great, and it really adds to it, but if not that, I agree with you, that's my favorite of the film. It captures that moment of Buzz getting reality hitting him, and just the tone, everything. Yeah, it's just a great soundtrack, and throughout the film, I like how he also mimics other soundtracks, like where the globe is going
Mhm,
after Buzz. It kinda goes into Indiana Jones a little bit. It's just that little
mhm.
nod if you're listening. Little stuff like that I really appreciate. I think they're really
Yeah.
cool and add, so yeah, soundtrack is just, what else is there to say, right? It's just
Well,
really, really great.
a fun fact, if you didn't know, so Randy Newman wrote "You've Got a Friend of Me" in 1 day.
Really?
Did you know that?
No. What? What?
He wrote
Wow.
"You've Got a Friend in Me" in 1 day. He didn't polish it or anything. He completely had it done in 1 day. That's insane. And he went on to be an Oscar winner. He did the music for, I believe, his first Oscar was Meet the Parents.
It
That he wrote all the music
really?
for that movie. Yeah,
Huh. Of all, I would have thought he would have won it for this, but I know that's me being biased. I, of course, have memories with this film, but I think just even taking the memories from this film out, I still think this is a masterful soundtrack. So that's surprising that he won it for that one and not this one, but I could see that too. That's,
yeah.
I can't believe that. 1 day, that is, wow. That's impressive. Very wow. Don't ask me to do something like that.
Well, the funny thing about that for me is that song is so gigantic. It's one of the biggest songs from any movie of all time,
yeah.
and he wrote that in a day. That's just incredible. I don't know how he's a genius. I don't know how other way else to say it. That's just
Yeah.
incredible work.
And they've used that song in all of the sequels. So
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like, "Okay, this is nice. We'll keep it to this." That tells you the impact. Like, they
yeah,
kept that as, "Okay, this is now the theme song of this movie series," and that's incredible to think about.
yeah.
1 day.
Whew.
Uh, I'm impressed, but a little jealous because I've had writer's
Well,
block when I've tried to do stuff like that, and it's just like you do anything and everything to just like I know I've got this idea, I just need to flesh it out. But to man, my hats off to him. That's just
there you
it,
go.
that's incredible. Wow. I love the little facts like that though. So the other thing I love the soundtrack. There's so many quotes in this movie. I think that's the
Oh
other
yeah.
little feather in the cap. This one's got dozens of it. I think you could just pick apart this or that, but the quotes are just so memorable. The writers on this, Josh Whedon, he's kind of known today, but he was actually one of the writers.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember how many writers were there. Do you recall?
I believe 4, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. And it's a
I
shame
could
I don't
check.
know their names. Yeah, I should check on that. I mean, I really should give them just as much praise as Josh Whedon. It's just that Josh Whedon is more popular. He's done numerous films that he's directed now. He went on to do bigger
Oh my.
things, but there's a lot of names. Did you pull up some names?
I keep clicking on it.
Because I want to say they're famous
There's 7
today.
writers.
7. Wow.
7 writers. The head writer, the original screenplay was the John Lasseter.
Okay.
Um,
So he got a
I'm
writing
not
credit.
Yeah, I'm not sure who else you would know out of this crew, but um, yeah, it's quite amazing. I thought there was like 4. They're semi-famous.
Yeah. I want to say that they also went on to direct other Pixar movies. So they were recognized for their work on this movie
I think I
as
heard that.
writers. I think if it's Andrew Stanton, Pete
Yeah,
Docter, they at
yeah.
least came up with a draft. Maybe they weren't like a head writer, but I think they had some kind of creative influence in there. I want to say. So yeah, I mean, I want to give them all the shout out because the writing is just top notch in my opinion. There's few. I think it'd be cool to have like a screenplay, like you own it and have it kind of framed up. Honestly, this is one of those movies. Just me personally, I think everybody could say their own personal like that would be cool to have the actual screenplay in writing. This
Mhm,
is one I just feel like from top to bottom, it's just so polished. Everything about it. The like I said, the character development, but the quotes, I mean, just if you don't want to hear it for hours on hours, don't get me started on it because this is just ingrained in me. uh it's so great. It's just like every line is clever and it's also I feel like would you agree with this? This was kind of the start of a family movie, but it had a lot of nods that the adults could actually enjoy it. Would you agree with that?
I would say this is half and half, in my opinion, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Because
And to
there's
go
just
along with you, I was gonna say in my notes, I've got the dialogue was very impressive. The gags were so well thought out. Like hats off to the writers as well, you know?
seriously. Yeah.
Yeah,
They it's just
yeah.
so well done. It's everything's just polished. That's another word that keeps jumping up to me. And also going with it's a well-written movie, but they
Mhm,
did get some pretty big stars to do the voice acting, and their
mhm.
delivery is top notch. I mean, Tom
Oh, for
Hanks.
sure.
Yeah, it's just great. I mean, how where do you begin? Like, what do you think about the voice acting? That's another thing to touch on.
It's so well done that you kind of don't appreciate it to the full, if that makes sense. It's like every character is 10 out of 10. I
Yeah,
mean, and I don't know how they casted that well, but they did. They pulled off the perfect, heist of a movie.
that's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's what it feels like. I look back like, how did they afford all these people? That's what I
Oh,
want
I
to know.
I think they took, very little money at the time.
They must have realized the impact this movie was going to make,
Yeah.
and they wanted their name on it. Be involved in that project, and
Yeah.
I'm going off of memory, so I could be completely wrong, but I wanna say some of the actors like Tom Hanks might have even got a percentage of it.
Mm.
So sometimes actors will do that. They'll
Smart
cut.
moves on behalf of his team.
Oh, especially if it wasn't just this movie, but like if it was.
Yeah.
Oh man, Tom Hanks is already big, but all of them are just big. I mean, I mentioned Don Rickles, um, Laura Shawn, Wallace Shawn, that's it, who does Rex. Um, you got Tim Allen, Jim Varney. He
Mhm.
was the Ernest series,
Mhm.
and he just I love him as Slinky Dog. He's just perfect. I can't imagine
Yeah.
him as anybody else, like any other voice. It's just
Yeah.
I could say that about all the characters, really. I
Yeah,
can't
for
imagine
sure.
them. Like you said, they're 10 out of 10. Like they are the characters, and the lines are so great. I love when they're all together too. There's a few scenes like that. Obviously, when Buzz meets them all, but there's so much playful banter going back and forth. I mean, there's
Oh,
the
yeah.
it's like it's not a laser. It's a little light bulb that blinks. What's with him? Laser envy. That's just great play off of each other, and just
Mhm.
I think the word you're searching for is Space Ranger. The word I'm searching for, I can't say, because there's preschool toys and present. Getting kind of tense, aren't you? It's so great. Again, I could go on and on with the quotes. They're so wonderful. I love the line where they're in the arcade at Pizza Planet, and he's trying to convince Buzz to get in the stroller with Andy so they'll get back there, and he's like, does it have hyperactive? He's like, hyperactive hyperdrive and astro turf. It's just great. Just clever lines. I mean, even as a kid, I think I even caught that. I think that's a line that only adults would typically catch.
Yeah.
But since I was into sport, I knew
Yeah, I was
sports and
gonna
things.
say, since I was in the sports, I caught that too.
Yeah. I just love it. I just love the dialogue in it. It's just top notch. I mean, I could just go on about this movie. What are some other things that just kind of, again, you wanted to bring out, or any fun facts about the film?
Well, I mean, really, the 2 insults that I love were, Buzz Lightyear and Light Snack. Like, every time I hear those, it's like the first time I heard them, and I'm just dying. Buzz Lightyear.
That's another one kids might, but
Yeah.
it's like, all
I
right,
mean,
Mr. Lightbeer, prove it. It's great. It's so great.
another fun fact, did you know that an early title of the film was "You Are a Toy"? That
That
was
was
actually
the
the title. They were going for a while. That was the title of the film.
interesting.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Well, that's probably, I don't know. Would you say that's, if not the most memorable, one of the most memorable lines of the
Oh, for
movie?
sure.
So it makes sense that it
And
was the title. They had to get it worked back in there.
yeah, another fun fact I found was that the toolbox on top of the milk crate that Woody is under is the same company Brentford used in the Tim Allen's Home Improvement.
Oh, yes. That's so cool. Yeah. It's one of those, so many of those. Yes.
They have a great way of like hiding gems in this movie. I mean, there's tons of. If I were to give all the fun facts in this movie, we'd be like a 5-hour podcast for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, you could just take one scene and spend an
Yes.
hour on it.
Yeah.
The staff meeting, quote unquote, at the
Yeah.
very beginning, he's standing in front of the toys and in front of the bookshelf, and there's books that have all these titles. Each one of those are a nod or some kind of reference to Pixar and the animation.
Hmm.
Like you said, it's just so well thought out. It's just polished. It's not it's a passion project, I guess. It's just, you could tell there was a lot of fun, a lot of, those creators. It felt like they finally got their time to shine, and all that bottled up creation that they had, they were able to really bring it out in this movie. So I just love that. I think when you can pick up when, even if it's the actors, if it's the director, producers, writers, anything, when they are just having a ball, it comes
Hmm.
through. And that's what it
Mhm.
feels like with this movie. Like, everybody, you could tell, no matter who they were, they probably just had a blast making this movie.
You know, to go along with that, I'm learning as we do these movies, like that it's very similar to real life. That with the management is setting a good scene for everybody, good good example, then everybody else is happy to do their job,
Yes.
and they don't complain as much, or they don't have temper tantrums or whatever, because they're appreciating it. But if the management is difficult, it goes down, it trickles down to all the other employees and staff, and it just makes it miserable. And you can tell this movie was easy for them to make. You can tell this, like you said,
Yeah.
was a passion project. They just loved doing this film. Another thing I wanted to bring out real quick before I forget
Yeah.
is that Sid being the villain was brilliant. And I
Mhm.
love the line, "He's no happy child."
And I
Oh, and another one, when he says, "I don't believe that young man's ever been to medical school."
You know what is so funny is you say that's your favorite line, and I love those lines, but I love what is, like, tied to those lines.
Yes.
So your favorite, you love the, he ain't no happy child. My favorite is the he tortures toys just for fun. Like, the way, again, that delivery of that line, I love it. And then the one that you're saying, I don't believe that man's ever been to medical school. I actually said that today. We were doing a house project, and Sid, he's like, I don't. No one's ever tried a double double head transplant before, something like that. But now for the tricky part, pliers. I'll say that some. So I love. Yeah, it's just so great. I love it.
No, every line sets up every joke. I mean, it's just amazing. They milked every possible funniness out of this movie, and it's just a pleasure all the way through.
It is. There's never a dull moment, and it's not overwhelming. It's not that this is pumped up to 11 every
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
To your point, there's a lot of little gems you'll find when it's more relaxed. Maybe it's getting to the plot to develop and stuff. If you're paying attention, you're still enjoying it. It's just like, oh, I'm catching a reference here or there, and it's just terrific. I love it. It's just a fun movie. I mean, I could watch this on a sunny day, a rainy day, whatever. If it's on, I'm watching it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. There's just so much I could go on about, and we touched on so much. I will say, like, with my kids, they love it. They've loved the aspect, again, like we've talked about, toys coming to life. And a funny story, I was telling my one son he just needed to hurry up a little bit. He was just kind of dragging his feet a little bit. He needed to go up, get something. So I just said, come on, let's make sure we're doing this. And so he said, okay. And under his breath, as he walked away, went, save your batteries. He was quoting the line where they're all freaking out about, they don't know what is going on downstairs. And Woody says, all right. If I send the troops downstairs, will you all calm down? Rex, yes, we promise. Woody, okay, save your batteries. It's just a little line, and my son picked up on it. So yeah, they love it. It's a like you said, through and through, it's just enjoyable. Whether you're a kid, whether you're an adult, I don't know. It's just the reviews I was seeing, I was like, yes, that's so appropriate. I can't agree more. So anything else that you want to add, or any other fun facts, things like that to throw in?
Well, our mutual friend Ben wanted to jump in a quote here, a little fun fact, that Rex and Bo Peep both played on Young Sheldon, the TV show.
Yeah.
So I thought I would throw that one in there.
And you know who did the voice of Andy's mom? Another fun fact.
Oh, I forget. Remind me.
Her name is Laurie Metcalf, also known as Sheldon's mom from Big Bang Theory.
Oh, so 3.
Yep.
Okay, I forgot that. Completely forgot.
And I think I remember that when the Big Bang Theory came out, because I was like, her voice is so familiar. And it wasn't until later I remember seeing that, like, oh, that's Andy's mom. And
Oh, wow.
She's been in other roles too, but
Oh yeah.
that's just the one I can think of. I think a lot of people would know her from that. Um, real quick, I thought it'd be fun. Since this is Pixar, we are covering. There is another fun fact, because again, there's so many of these hidden gems, like you mentioned, but this is one of them. Every Pixar film gives a reference to the studio number, where a lot of different films would be recorded. There's also other films, not just Pixar, that use this as a reference. We talked about one. It was Brave Little Toaster. It also did that. So I thought it'd be fun. We could play the game, see if we could find it. So I'll ask you, did you spot the A113? That is the nod. That is the lot. I think it's the lot number or the studio number.
You're gonna get mad at me. I looked this up and I forgot it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I thought it'd be a fun game though, because it's like if you know about it upon rewatch,
I spoiled your fun.
that's okay. I have it noted. It was the license plate. So
There we go. Yes.
yep.
Thank
That
you.
one's a little more obvious, but the others are kind of, you got to look for them. So
You
that's why
gotta
I'm
look.
like,
Yeah.
so let's going forward, we'll try and spot it. That's
A
just
lot of hidden gems in this. Yeah.
another one is we mentioned Pizza Planet.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the Pixar movies continue that. You should be able to find the Pizza Planet truck and also the ball that has the star on it. That's typically so we'll play that game going forward to see if we were able to find it.
I will keep an eye out. Now I have something to look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just, we could probably find more. I think they've done more, but let's just keep it to that. I think those are the big ones that they at least try to make it somewhat obvious. At least you can find it without like pausing it and zooming in, because there's a lot of that. But these, you can typically find them pretty easy. They kind of stick out. They want you to almost find them. But real quick, I think I got to give the aliens credit. We almost forgot about the aliens from the Claw Machine. Like,
Yes.
another fantastic characters. I can't believe we almost
Oh,
forgot
I
about
love
it.
it.
The whole Claw, I mean, I have been chosen. Farewell, my friends. Go on to a better place. Claw chooses who will go and who will stay. It's just love that scene. Love it. Oh, it's that's what's kind of coming to mind. Anything else to kind of throw on there? I love the line also, because I could just quote all day, but also love Buzz's lines. Are you still using fossil fuels, or have you discovered crystallic fusion? Woody, we got double A's. One of my favorite lines.
I like the what was it, bonding strip or something like that, and he goes, Buzz wants more Scotch tape.
Universal bonding strip or something.
That's
like
what
that.
it was. Universal bonding strip.
Oh, another quote I say whenever I get something out and I'm reading the instructions or ingredients on a food, whatever, I'll pull it out and I'll go, the big one. Extremely dangerous. Keep out of reach of children. Cool.
I love that. Keep out of reach of. Whoever thought of delivering it that way? That's so perfect.
It is. It's so oh, I love it. It's just the writing alone was terrific to put that in there, that this kid, you already know he's this kid that just destroys toys, and he's getting fireworks and playing with matches, doing all the stuff that kids shouldn't be doing. And then he's reading a warning sign like a kid. The keep out of reach. Oh, I love it. Just little details. Yes. I could go on and on. It just yeah. I mean, and the ending is great. It, Sid is such a great character on that, but him getting scared by the toys, I can't think of a better way to just kind of like book in that Sid arc either. All of them have such great character development. It's just so good. Woody goes from a jerk to, understanding. Buzz goes from this oblivious, to he comes to he acceptance is the best way
in
to
the
put
middle
it.
of that journey, there's Mrs. Nesbit.
Yeah.
Looking down Darjeeling.
And how do we forget that one too? I think that's another, if not the "You are a toy" line, that's the other
Tell me the
big.
hat looked good. I think my favorite line in this movie, and I know I say it in the house a lot, and my sister actually bought me a Slinky toy because of it, was
Oh.
when Woody is trying to convince them that he didn't do anything wrong, and they all leave him at the window, and he goes, "Slinky." The way he delivers that is just Oscar worthy.
It's so great. It's wonderful, and that whole scene's great too. Like, I love Rex throwing up when he sees his arm. Little things, people might not catch it. Maybe
Yeah.
someone else, they like you said, you like that part. There's so many great lines in that. It could just go on and on. It's a terrific movie. That's all. That's all. I mean, it's just, what else is there to say? It's just I could even go as far as saying this is a beautiful movie in a way, like the writing,
Yeah.
the music,
The idea of it.
Yeah, it's so original. I love going back to this movie. So, with that said, anything else that you have to add? I mean, we've touched on a lot, and we could definitely go on, but anything else that you want to make sure that you mention?
Well, I mean, yeah, I know you said it already, and we could kind of phase into the reviews, but on Rotten Tomato, this has 100% fresh.
Yeah.
That, I believe there's only a handful of movies that have ever ranked 100%. And even so, I can't name them. But then it's also on Rotten Tomatoes, a 92% user score, which
Yep.
is 92 is like a great user score, because how many people are going to agree with the same, you know what I mean? So it's just unbelievable. This movie deserves it. I mean, of all movies, it definitely does, for sure.
It does. And that's what, to your point with users, I mean, there's just people that get on there and they'll give it bad reviews just to
Oh
make
yeah,
it
of course. That's what how is
Yeah.
it going to score this high? It's just impossible.
right. And it's still a 92. I mean,
Yeah.
there you go. I mean, all the good reviews offsetted the bad, but yeah, that's a good segue into it. So we like to look at what's around the net. Specifically, we like to look at IMDb. I believe that's where you've looked for these reviews. What kind of reviews are you seeing out there, Seth?
So the first one I got was from instant_Palmer. They say, witty, sweet fun for all ages, forever changed animated film, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty fitting. I think that
wraps up everything we've said.
there you go, folks. Just remember this time mark right there. If you're like, I've never seen Toy Story before, just remember that time mark. Or look up the review. You said it was Instant Palmer.
Instant_Palmer. Yeah.
Okay. So what else is there to say? That's spot on. Yeah.
So the next one was Slightly Mad 22 said, great fun for kids and adults alike, 8 out of 10.
I love these names. That's so great. I might use that, kudos to them. If someone asks, how are you doing today? I'll be like, slightly mad. Oh, that's great. I don't know why that tickles me so much. That's great. But yeah. I mean, again, he touched on it too. I mean, just all good things. I can't say that enough.
The third one I found was the Avenger 95 said, one of the best animated films of all time, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost curious if there is any bad reviews out there for this film, and if it's just, again,
I looked, and there were a couple that they didn't care for it, but they still gave it a decent review. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they I don't know how to justify that, but I have a bonus one today.
Okay.
I
Go
can't
for it.
pronounce the name, but I love what they said. They said every kid's fantasy, 10 out of 10.
I think that's another spot on. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a kid and you have toys, no matter who you are, I mean, and we're going to be covering Pixar. I think the sequels go even further on that. You bring in like Barbie and and girl toy, because this was obviously following a boy and cowboys and space
Mhm.
rangers and that type of thing. But the sequels do bring it all in, I think, and really expand on that thought that,
Mhm.
like you said, every kid's fantasy, every kid's imagination, they're thinking they're really alive. And these movies are just, they're so much fun. Yeah. So thank you for those reviews. I mean, those kind of hit on what we said. So let's get to our reviews just to make it official. I think this is gonna, I don't think it's gonna shock much people, but we'll find out. So what, you have the honor, Seth. I'm gonna ask you that question. How would you rate Toy Story? And to clarify, the first Toy Story.
I
Would
have
you
to take this home. I'm
eh,
sorry. I'm sorry. I got
without
to interrupt you.
hesitation?
I
No,
got to
go.
interrupt you. There's no reason to talk about the other ones. There's not for this movie.
Yeah, this is a take it home. I think I wore out the VHS tape that we had. It got to that point, like if you tried to watch it, it got that like in certain spots. Uh, VHS tapes kind of wear down over time anyway, but this one definitely aged years in advance for how many times I've watched it. This is a take it home. Like,
I believe my brother had this on Laserdisc.
that's
So
impressive.
it was a special movie to us. He called us up and we all watched it. The first time I saw it was in his bedroom.
Oh, that'd
And
be so
I
cool.
remember that really clearly, like vividly, memories of this first time I watched it.
And this is, I guess if we just went on about good stuff, right? We didn't really mention anything bad. Some We really didn't. But I mean, this is what you would call pretty much a perfect film.
Yeah.
If you want to nitpick, I mean, the animation at times, I still think the animation is terrific. I still think it's wonderful. There's just certain spots where it wasn't quite as polished as the other scenes. Um, I think if you look closely, like with the kids, there's a certain amount of kids around. They're all identical. They just kind of did like a copy cut, paste, I
Yeah.
think. But you don't notice them. Honestly, that's
Yeah.
why we didn't bring it up. Just to be frank, I think it's just one of those if you really want to nitpick it. But yeah, this was one of those movies when DVD came out. I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch this," because VHS, you just have to scale it down so much. So the quality, I mean, you don't have widescreen, you don't have the full
Mhm.
picture. Watching this on widescreen was just a game changer. And I saw it in theaters, but that was the one time. And after that, it was always memories of watching on VHS. So this was one of
Yeah.
those movies too. Just, yeah. When you had it on Laserdisc, I'm sure that was a lot of fun to go back through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, oh man, there you have it, folks. I don't think that's a big shocker. We were kind of just going on about,
I interrupted you even.
yeah, I would have done the same. I mean, I was just like, there's no need to drag this one out. This is a take it home. And dare I say, I mean, we just went through our list of our top movies. This is like
Yeah.
jumped way up to the top. I'll go ahead and say that. I'm not going to tell you where until we decide we want to do another one of those lists again, but
It really cuts through the list though.
yeah, it just it's up there now. I liked my top 5 list, so I'm kind of sad. But I think it's in there. Spoiler alert there. I think it
There
it,
you
it
go.
it catapulted into mine anyway. So
Mm.
there you have it, folks. That was yeah, just a lot of fun. I could talk about Toy Story all day, but that's all we have for now. But before we do, let's make sure we tell everyone where they can find us at. So Seth, where can people find us on our social platforms?
You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and you can reach us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com.
All right. And be sure, if you can, give us a 5-star rating. We talked about one of the reasons we had the live episode. We had a lot of fun uh, announcements. One of those being that we are now on Patreon. So feel free to check us out there too, because, you know, starting with Toy Story, starting with Pixar, we thought, wouldn't it be so much fun if we got the voice of Andy on Toy Story 3? So we've got hashtag Andy or bust. That is our goal. And if you go on Patreon, that's going to go towards getting, his name is John Morris. we want to get him on Toy Story 3. It's Andy or bust. We can only try. We'll do our best. So, check us out there too. And like Seth mentioned, drop us a line, email us any memories you have of these movies, because I'm sure you could ask anybody. They'll have their different story or different memories. We want to hear about it. Be sure to message us. It could just be a quick sentence or two. Or if you want to go into detail, we'll be happy to share that as well. We'll give you a shout out. So that'll about do it for now. As they say, all good things come to an end. But don't worry, we'll be back to Grandma's soon enough. But in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, God. All of it's gone. Bye-bye. Woo, see ya.
What happened to you?
One minute you're defending the whole galaxy, and suddenly you find yourself sucking down Darjeeling with
Marie Antoinette and her little sister.